The aforementioned Pat Forde, the college football writer, columnist for Yahoo Sports, who joins us now. Pat, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Just coming out of a little drive-through hernia surgery. I worked too hard to slow down and actually go to the hospital. So, Todd's a little soft. I'm not.
Well, Fritzie's having double hernia surgery. You had one, right?
Yeah. Yes, he is doubling the fun for sure. Although I don't know what all is involved in double hernia surgery that makes it harder than single hernia surgery.
If he could have a triple hernia surgery, that's probably next for him, knowing Fritzie. All right, the committee rationale. What do you think is the most important thing when that committee gets together and they start to look at everybody's body of work? What is and what should be the number one thing they look at?
I think it's resume, Dan, and I think it should be resume. I don't want a committee that goes in there and watches film and says, the way their inside zone blocking is, they should be able to beat Clemson. I don't want them to predict who's going to win a matchup. I want them to look at the resumes, what they've done, and yes, you can use eye test as far as who's played the best and impressed you the most, but I want them to pick the four best teams based on what they have actually seen them do as opposed to predicting what they might do in a playoff.
Did they do that with the latest rankings?
I believe so. It's a little bit scary to me because I have poked a lot of fun at the committee, but my 1 through 8 is the exact same as their 1 through 8 in order.
I guess we're trying to figure out and I know it's a reality show. Like I brace for a reality show here. It's just like the NCAA tournament. They somehow get a coach who's facing the school that he used to coach at. But they didn't plan it that way. It just would always happen that, somehow that would happen. And that's why I look at this. It's only 4 schools, but are we looking at how Ohio State plays nationally? Or do you have Lamar Jackson and Louisville in there? Are they big enough? Do we want to see a Heisman Trophy winner? Does that factor in at all with human beings picking out these 4 schools?
Well, it's interesting because, as you mentioned, the reality show part of it, I think, is what we go through in November, where it's just like, hey, let's throw Texas A&M in there. That would be kind of fun. It's all just screwing around the first few weeks because none of it matters, which is why I'm not a big fan of the weekly show because they're basically yanking the chains of various overly emotional football fans here with their rankings.
True.
Then when the rubber hits the road at the end, maybe that is the case. Ohio State getting in over TCU and Baylor that first year. Certainly, who had more appeal? Who was the bigger draw?
Ohio State.
Does Lamar Jackson carry weight? If it comes down to an either or at the end of this thing, if you're looking to break a theoretical tie for 4th, does having the presumptive Heisman Trophy winner and the most exciting player people have seen in a few years carry the day? I don't know, but I would bet that it's at least discussed. I think it should at least be discussed, and if the need be shot down, but fine, but at least talk about it.
The fan base most likely to get left on the outside looking in is who?
I'd say Louisville. I think that resume is a little bit short right now, and they need some stuff to happen. It can happen. If Michigan loses and kind of recuses itself, and then you have a 2-loss Big Ten champion that's not Ohio State, I think Louisville could sneak in as the second team from the ACC. But as of right now, they beat the snot out of Florida State. They have a very close, exciting loss to Clemson. They have the best player in the country, but that's about it. They didn't get a good set of opponents from the other division in the ACC, so their ACC schedule is not great, and their non-conference schedule is not great.
Does the last 5 years hurt Penn State in any way, shape, or form, on and off the field?
Don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think that's immaterial. It should be immaterial. I don't think that's the kind of thing the committee should factor in at all. It's not their job. It's a matter that was always too important for the NCAA. It was a matter for the courts mostly. And then secondly, the NCAA did get involved and screwed it up. So maybe lessons were learned, and let's just look at this and make a football decision.
Pat Forde, Yahoo Sports college football columnist, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. Biggest game, aside from Ohio State, Michigan, the rest of the year, that could impact the top 4 is what?
I would say probably the Apple Cup, Washington State, which is not something you say every year.
Yeah, it's
but
true.
It's it's shaping up. I mean, Washington State's right now, they lead that division. They're undefeated in the Pac-12 North. But if Washington can win that game and then win the Pac-12 championship and we sit there with a one-loss conference champion that played 10 league games, do they get left out in favor of a second team from either the ACC or the Big Ten? That would be a big, big argument.
The biggest disappointment this year was?
Oh, my gosh, there have been a lot of them. I would have to say Oregon. No, you know what? I'll say Michigan State, because I expected Oregon to take a big step back this year, not as far as they did, but Michigan State, I really didn't think that, I thought they were on a path where they're going to win 9, 10, 11 games every single year, and they just fell apart completely. I mean, the only team they have beaten since September 15th, 17th is Rutgers, and everybody beats Rutgers. So it's just been an absolute train wreck up there with a program that I thought was really built to last. So that one's shocked me the most.
Can they relegate Rutgers like they do in the Premier League? Can't you put North Dakota State, or how about Western Michigan gets to be in the Big Ten playing football for a year?
I think it would be great. I would love it. You know what? And, yeah, Delaney can, he was so happy with his New York TV market. I guess he can go and count the cable subscriptions for the Big Ten Network in the New York area while waiting for Rutgers to resume being competitive and move back up.
Where are you this weekend?
I'm at home. There's a bad schedule. No good
here
games.
We go. Pat Forde. Now all of a sudden we mail it in, sit in front of the TV. You can be a sports columnist for Yahoo. You can just sit at home and watch TV. Okay, Pat.
You come sit with me, Dan. I'd be happy to have you. We'll take notes together.
You don't have enough beer for me, Pat.
We can try.
Thank you, bud.
Thank you.
All right, Pat Forde, Yahoo Sports.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.